Good morning, everyone. This is Russell Wine from SEP Software. I'm the Vice President of Sales for North and South America. I appreciate everyone joining. A couple of housekeeping items. This webinar is being recorded, and if you have any questions or comments during the webinar, please feel free to send them to the chat session. We will be monitoring them, and we have a question and answer session towards the end. So let's go ahead and get started. I just want to say thank you to everyone who has joined today. Some of you on the webinar I have met, some of you I have not. But a very quick agenda for today, just quick and simple, 30-minute call today with everyone, and to talk about what's going on from a company standpoint, talk about support, more importantly, get you guys what's going on with our features and updates, what's new, both with company and the software, what's going on for our licenses, and talk about, at the end, as I mentioned, questions and answers. So one of the things to share with you folks all on the call here today, both value-added resellers, partners, and end users, is to really talk about, what's going on with the company. So our goal this year in 2019 is to do increased awareness to make, you guys are hearing more and more about SEP. I think there's challenges for everyone to say, who is SEP? It's a great software, but no one's heard of the company too much. So again, increasing the awareness and contact and nurturing to you folks and making sure that you have updated information. A couple things that happened within this last year from a company update. We have new licensing models that we announced mid last year, and we went to a 100% channel sales model early in 2018. We launched our new website, and one of the things that I wanted to make sure that everyone knew is that we are working on revamping our end user portal and our support portal. Some of those, the feedback from the end users has been heard quite heavily. With our old website, there's just some difficulty bringing some things forward, and we should have the support portal possibly being launched. My goal is mid this year for both the partners and for the end users. One of the things I'd like to encourage everyone, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, and you can also follow us on social media. We are doing a lot with social media, and our focus is to make sure that we're taking advantage of communication through multiple channels with both end users, partners, and value-added resellers. One of the, just to give you guys a quick idea that we have, what we won from an award standpoint in 2018. I think everyone on the phone is aware, but development of our software is out of Germany. That is the overall mothership of our company. Of course, sales and support for North and South America is handled out of the U.S. But these are some of the awards. One of the top two that I like to point out to is Reader's Choice Storage Insider Award, and more importantly, the Gartner Customer Choice Award. The Gartner Customer Choice Award is, of course, thanks to everyone here on the phone today. If you look at where we rated compared to the other vendors, we're one of only 7. We rank very high, and with that, you look at our rating and our ranking there to the right. This was the second time in a row that we won this award. Thanks to everyone here. One item to point out, you can submit a review. You can actually see the reviews that have been submitted. And if you do take your time and submit a review about us, we'd appreciate it. But Gartner thanks you as well by offering a gift card to you folks for $25. So if you take your time and submit a review, we would appreciate it. And you'll be seeing more and more about us. But if you take away, the biggest thing to take away is we're sitting in pretty good company at the top level from a support standpoint versus some of the other backup vendors out there. So give you folks a quick support process update. In your licensing that you purchase along with your yearly maintenance updates and renewal, your basic support includes all your updates, patches, revisions, bug fixes, and SEP email support. What is that email support? The email support is simply a way, if you have a question and you do not want to consume one of your incidents, and it's just, hey, how do I do this? You can simply send an email to support request at SEP Software, and that will enable us to get back to you with an answer. If it's urgent and it's actually break fix, by all means, submit a ticket. But some of the questions that I've heard from both end user and VARs is there seemed to be a little bit of confusion on, hey, if we just email you guys and we have a question, what can we do? Part of our portal that we'll be launching later on this year will include that knowledge base so that you can actually simply search for some topics of your own and help yourself. All of our software bundle licenses include the 1-year basic support. As you add more licenses, it's important to note that those are coterminous with your existing maintenance contract. And one of the important things to point out is that in basic support, it's not installation, consulting services, and or telephone support for break fix. We have those services available. If you'd like SEP to help in the installation, design, consulting practice, we do have services available with some top-notch engineers. So your typical support for break fix is of course covered under incident packs, and there's different levels of incident packs for everyone out there. As you get it bigger and bigger in the enterprise, we have an unlimited support incident packs as well for your team. As mentioned, optional support items that you can purchase for an additional dollar amount is consulting services and design and recommendations. If you need your environment reviewed, hey, it's been a long time since you've really looked at your backup environment, we can actually take a look with you, give you some best practices recommendations, and help you really optimize your environment. So this is our support portal today. This is a copy of our website. So if you need to submit a ticket, you can submit a ticket at sepusa.com on our support portal. Simply fill out your information, and then an email confirmation will be sent back to you. You can also send an email to supportrequest@sepusa.com and actually go onwards with being able to get the assistance. Another option that's available to you is our online during normal business hours. You can simply right there click on SEP remote support and connect to an engineer, and we'll take it from there. So let's get into features and updates. I think this is probably why a good portion of you are here. What you see here on the screen is guiding you to our wiki. The wiki is open to everyone and available. It's not gated, so you're able to go out there and see information. What's in the quick start guide, new documentation, more importantly, what's new. If you really want to get into the details of what's in our latest feature and release, it's right there in the release notes. This is constantly being improved and added to, so keep going back to it as often as you need to. There's also some training, our video tutorials, and also, more importantly, our support matrix. As we grow as a company, we continue to add more and more items to hardware and software that we do support. And this is pretty much what we use when people have questions, is we use the wiki and guide them back to it. So what's new? Cloud connector storage. That's new for everybody. I think there should be a loud yay going on in the background. A little late to the market for SEP, but we have released our cloud storage connector, the S3. We could always do replication to the cloud, to a data center, and replication, but this is actually the S3 cloud storage connector. It was released along with the software. If you're not taking advantage of it, you can also contact sales for pricing, but this is new, and you should see this on the price list here that's been released it will be released in Q2 of 2019. The price list that's just been released for Q1 2019 does not include the cloud storage connector, but we do have the pricing available. If you are interested in using that, please please reach out to us. CBT, change block tracking for Citrix. This is a huge thing. I would say that if you folks are out there using Citrix today, you should take advantage of this tool because it's going to save you money. We're also going to go into some license updates, talk about our GUI enhancements, and what else is new for us. Let's get into the roadmap first, though. So in the current release, we have the cloud S3 cloud replication. We've added improved storage snapshots for NetApp. We continue to improve our support for NetApp with our P agent. And then also enhancements to Hyper-V for single file restore, Citrix N, and then we've increased our support matrix. So as you look at this information here, you can read about each one of these topics in the wiki and make sure that the details are there. Open Nebula, of course, is a new hypervisor that we also support. That speaks to our breadth and our reach of all the virtualization platforms. You're going to see some new information as well. Please pay attention to the support matrix. VMware on Nutanix. We support VMware on Nutanix today, regardless of the application that you're running. So if you're running SAP, Oracle, you're using Nutanix, we can back those VMs up today. What's upcoming? HPE Catalyst. Support for HPE. We are currently listed as support for HPE, and you'll see more information coming soon, but this feature is actually already done and as released. Virtualization, we are going to have our support for Nutanix AHV. If you look here, we're going to have single file restore for Citrix. We'll support another hypervisor called Proxmox, and then we'll be making some more enhancements. If you're using SAP, some of the biggest enhancements for SAP is some of the housekeeping items that we're taking care of. These features here that we're talking about that are coming out mid Q2 2019, these are not on the wiki, and if you need additional details or information because you're running these environments, please reach out to us. We'll get a technical engineer on the phone with you, and that'll enable you to talk about, what do these things look like, what are going on. If you notice, ongoing work is just constant for us: security, usability, web UI, and deduplication optimization. Want to continually talk to you folks. If you need a feature, you have some hardware that you're using or you're considering, and you're thinking to yourself, I need to now change my backup product because I'm changing to either a different virtualization platform or changing out your hardware, I would encourage you to reach out to us and send us that information. This is part of what I want to make sure that you folks understand is what I'm sharing with you today is what are we doing today and where are we going? How do we control where we're going as a company and as a software? It's based on feedback from our users. Nutanix has been huge, and we've heard that from our customers. That's why we're adding the support for it. With the AHV, it makes things even a little bit easier for us. So as you have suggestions, please feel free and send those to us. And we should be doing a webinar like this once every quarter, maybe at least twice a year to give you folks the reassurance that you need that, we're growing as a company and not shrinking. S3 Cloud Replication, replicating your data to the cloud. Why is this important? So if you're looking at why people are replicating to the cloud, it's to make sure that we have that off-site storage. So today, our S3 Cloud connector supports AWS and Google, and then our next step is we're going to support Azure. Today, one of the methods that we're supporting Azure for cloud, replicating data to the cloud, is with hardware-based appliance. HPE Catalyst and Store1 can actually support Azure. So if you're using that hardware in your environment and you'd like to take advantage of replicating the data off, we can enable that. The S3 connector today, though, would be used for either going off-site to the cloud. Nothing changes from the ability to be able to put a RDS server in the cloud, public or private, and replicate your data today. So for you folks that have the licensing available, you can take advantage of it. And for the folks that are out there using and wanting to support a strategy with AWS or Google, we can support that as well. One of the things to take note here is that by using our deduplication, you can reduce the amount of data that is being transferred. So you're not paying more for the calls. So as you have the calls to AWS, upload and download, we know that that could be cost prohibitive. With deduplication, with the SEP deduplication, we reduce the amount of data and the amount of transfer calls that are going. I'd like to remind people to keep sending the questions through. We've had a few come through, and I will be getting to the questions here shortly. Citrix changed block tracking. This is pretty important, pretty important for us. We've always supported Citrix. We've done Citrix pretty well. And as far as support goes, what are you doing with change block tracking? Well, you don't have to back up the full VM. You're only backing up the changes. So today we offer new backup levels for Citrix change block tracking, and that's full, incremental, and differential. And for details, this will take you to our wiki. 100% agentless and online or offline backups of the VMs via snapshots. Very powerful because one of the most important features is the time it takes to perform the backups. VMware and other virtualizations allow you to create almost any size virtual disk, and without CBT, the hypervisor is going to back up the whole disk. So what we're talking about is reducing the amount of time it takes to do the backup and saving you critical storage space for your backups. Supported hypervisors. I wanted to make sure that everyone was aware of all the hypervisors that we support. And if you look at these right here, one of the biggest things to note is that we have a unified look and feel for backup and restore in the GUI. So as you decide what is the best virtualization strategy based on your company's needs, or if you're running one hypervisor today and you buy another company and they're using a different hypervisor, there's no reason why we cannot stay with the one backup product. Today, if you're physical using SEP today and you're considering going to one of these virtualization platforms, we can support it. It's just a change in your license fees. So there's no need to throw out the backup software, as we can support it all. Coming new is an additional hypervisor. We do have OpenNebula. Proxmox is coming soon. These OpenNebula and Proxmox we see more in Europe, but again, it's more hypervisors, and as they keep coming, we keep supporting them. License updates new in 2018. So this was launched in 2018. We released in our pricing based on industry and what is going on in the world, in the competitive marketplaces. We've changed our licensing. So most of the folks here on the webinar today are used to our perpetual licensing model. That is where it's based on the quantity of application and agents in use. In other words, we count everything. How many tape slots, what is your storage pool needed, how many backup clients you need, what type of databases you're running, etc. It's pretty a la carte pricing. One of the benefits of it is you're able to control your costs based on what you need. Your challenges, license management. And over time, I don't want to make it sound old, but that is the traditional method of most backup vendors. What has happened in the industry as virtualization has taken over and the all-you-can-eat type of pricing approach, we launched Volume, Subscription, and Essential. These were new to the U.S. market last year, and the differences between the three, I'm going to go through them really quickly. Volume licensing, it's an all-you-can-eat license that is based on capacity. So all SEP capacity-based licenses are calculated by how much original source-side data is protected, otherwise known in the industry as front-side data volume in terabyte increments. What are the benefits? So you're getting all-inclusive. Now, we're not just talking backup here, but we're also talking bare metal recovery. The volume and subscription licensing includes the remote device servers, the deduplication, the bare metal recovery, all licensing and agents based in terabyte volumes. We do have different levels, both professional and ultimate, and the difference between those two licenses is based on your database applications. You can mix and match those in a blended environment. If you have 1 terabyte, for example, sitting in an SAP database environment and 11 terabytes in other data, you'll have 1 terabyte license for professional, and the rest will be 1 terabyte under ultimate, and the rest will be priced under professional. Subscription. What's the difference between subscription and volume? Well, with volume, you own the licensing. With perpetual, you own the licensing, and you pay updates, maintenance updates every year. And with subscription, you are renting the software. It's a subscription-based, all the same licensing. It's based on the front-end terabyte again, and we have 1 or 3 year licenses available for the subscription. The difficulty is license not owned. So we give you the flexibility based on how you folks purchase and need to purchase for your organization to take advantage of either way. Perpetual, you own it. Volume, you own it. Subscription, it's a subscription. Essential is another license that you would own, and this was in response to the industry. Very similar to other folks out there, this is socket-based licensing. So if you're a small VMware environment, 1 or 2 servers, a few CPUs, I would take advantage of the essential licensing. It includes most of your level 2 agents, which are SQL and Exchange, and it includes, all the VMs, tape, dedupe, replication as well. So if you're considering, you have a remote office or potentially another office that you just purchased, but they're small, how do you add them to your backup strategy? This is the license that you would use. What are the challenges? Well, if you've got an environment, virtual environment larger than 6 sockets, you should take advantage of the volume or subscription licensing to reduce your costs out there. Very simple priced, and you'll pay your maintenance yearly on the essential licensing. The biggest thing to take away from this, it's the same software that you're using from small to large, just based on what your needs are and how you purchase. These are some of our technology partners. I wanted to make sure that you guys are aware. You're going to see probably good information and people talking about us. So as we look at Micro Focus, Citrix, Red Hat, VMware, and others, SAP, SUSE, you will see joint marketing efforts and information coming from these folks regarding SEP, and SEP talking about these environments as well. So as we continue to grow and improve our software, these are just a sample of our partners that we have. So let's get into a little bit of the question and answers here. I've got a few slides, and we have roughly a few questions. So going back to the questions, let's bring those up. Is the GUI going to be simplified or upgraded in the future? That's a very great question. There's a couple others regarding the GUI, and that's important. So as we look at our questions, other questions that are coming in, let's look at the rest of them. Make sure that we sort of got a grouping here. Let's just go through these all together. So there's a few on the GUI. Okay, so as we look at the GUI is going to be improved. So you saw on there that we're constantly doing GUI enhancements and simplifying things in there. But the overall request from the industry, from customers, has been for a web UI. That is one of the items that you did not see on the roadmap because it's a moving target for us and it's in the planning stage. When you say futures, that is out there. It's not a hard set in stone date, but the goal is to possibly launch the first phase of the web UI with, hey, here's for VMware, a simple way to use VMware that's over top. One of the challenges with our software and the GUI is our GUI gives you the ability to do command line and actually do some scripting. With that, what features and functionality does a end user need to have? Simply, everything that's in our GUI today does not need to be in a web UI. If I look at other products in the industry, whether it's Commvault, Networker, or Veritas, when you look at their GUIs, yes, there are the web UIs, and that's one of the critical things that is missing as a company. So as we grow, we will be seeing that web UI launch. I would love to hear feedback from everybody on this webinar saying, yes, Russell, we want a web UI. That will help me to actually get that firmer set in stone, and hopefully we will be able to get that out sooner than later. Are there any plans for better tape location management? For example, after the backup, the tape will be moved off-site for a specific amount of time. It'd be nice to have the software provide a report of what tapes need to be moved and where. That's great feedback and a great question. So this is sort of captured in a couple different questions. One of the users said, as a user, how do we request feature enhancements? So GUI, tape management, and these type of information, this is critical information that we need to help us improve our software. I don't think we've done a great job making sure that we are listening to our customers for these additional enhancements. We base some of our enhancements on some of our larger customers, and I think this goes overall. I would encourage you to send an email to info@SEPUSA or to rw@sepusa.com for feature enhancements. Another question, how do we take advantage of the S3 licensing today? How do you take advantage of it today? It's in the new release, and it is available. You can start using it today, and on the wiki there are instructions for how to configure and how to recover data from S3 as well. What are the plans for Azure support? I think I've talked about that. The Azure support, one of the items there is that rounds out our S3 connector. So as we continually improve our S3 connector, we will add Azure and others. Number 5, when do you expect to launch the support portal? In the past, it has been a big help to review prior tickets and incidents. As I mentioned earlier, I expect to launch that mid this year, hopefully with the launch of our next feature rollout. So we're looking at the end of Q2, beginning of Q3. So June, July, August timeframe is where we're going. Next question, how is front-side data calculated? And can we migrate from perpetual licensing to volume or subscription licensing? How is front-side data calculated? That's calculated by the amount of data that you have. You know, first and foremost, how much data? 500 gigabytes of SQL, 1 terabyte of Oracle, etc. We're not keeping track of how much data in the storage pool is being backed up. It's a different way to look at it. We will send out information to folks after this webinar with that paragraph from our wiki and from our price book that actually shows that. Next question. With VM Essentials, you have 2 servers, the VM host and the backup server. Is that correct? Or can the software run on the host? The software can actually run on the host itself. You don't have to have a separate backup server. It's a simple VM within it and can share on that host. So we're only looking at the CPUs that we were talking about in the environment, not for the backup server. So from a pricing standpoint, let's see here. Comment. Yes, Russell, we would love a web UI. What other questions do we have here? Okay, one more. I want to just I didn't answer this last question. Can we migrate from perpetual, 2 last questions. Can we migrate from perpetual licensing we own today to volume or subscription license? The answer is yes. To take advantage of that, we would look at your existing maintenance contract when that is up for renewal and look at applying a credit to transfer the licenses. The answer is yes. So if you want to move from perpetual to an all-you-can-eat and add additional licensing, that's advantageous, especially in customers that have large number of database incidents. So if you have 50 SQL databases, volume pricing would really give you a price break there. Last question, will you be offering offsite replication like other backup vendors? Yes, we will. That was one of those other items on a future consideration. Our goal was to have that launched this spring. We've missed that deadline just for a couple other issues, but the goal is later on this year, we will be offering replication as a service. So if you are an existing SEP customer and you want to take advantage of replicating to our private cloud, we will have that later this year in a data center located in Denver, Colorado. With that are the last of the questions. Let's go over to the content. So I just want to thank everyone. It's very important that you hear this information directly from the top. I wanted to make sure that you guys can get in touch with us from the have our information right here. Send support@sepusa.com. That's another way to get emails answered. I would encourage you to follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. We do have a blog out there and lots of information. The biggest thing I really want to make sure, everyone knows is that contact and more information, our goal is to make things easy. So as you look at what's going on in the future, feedback from you guys as our valued customers and our valued partners will help us. This is one of many, and the last thing I'll leave you with is this has been recorded, and everyone who is in attendance will get these slides. So I hope you all have a great day, and thank you for attending.